Callum Tindal-Draper was a 22-year-old British soldier who was killed fighting in Ukraine in November last year. The non-profit RT Weatherman Foundation helps British or American wounded while fighting in Ukraine and supports the families of those who have died. I'm really pleased to say I'm joined now by the parents of Callum, Stephen Draper and Caroline Tindal, also co-founder of the RT Weatherman Foundation, Andrew Duncan. It's great to see you all. Thank you. I'd really like to start by just finding out a bit more, Stephen, about Callum. What was he like? What prompted him to do what he went on to do?
Well, Callum was a lovely young man, and he was bullied quite severely growing up. And he learnt during his teenage years how to stand up to bullies. And he said, "Look, Dad, if you don't stand up to bullies, they'll keep doing it to you and your friends." And he said to us, you know, what's going on in Ukraine is really bad. It feels like it's a long way away, but it really matters here in the UK because, you know freedom isn't free. And, we had a lot of conversations about why he wanted to go to Ukraine. And he said, I can't look back on my life and say I just stood by and did nothing. I need to go and help these people because it really does matter.
Yeah. I don't know what, if any, military training he'd had before he went, whether he'd always wanted to be in the forces, or was it the pull of tackling what he saw as the wrong thing, as the Russian invasion being fundamentally wrong and challenging what his beliefs were?
Yeah, primarily it's exactly that, is the latter. It was his moral compass. He could not stand by and not do anything when what he saw was the rest of the world and the government standing by, being complicit in this. He was like, I am not going to be one of those people. I am going to be better than the governments of this world, because it's not just Ukraine. Because if Putin goes through Ukraine, this is actually Europe and then a world problem that we are dealing with.
Yeah.
And if I do not stand up, if I do not go there and stand up to and against what effectively is bullying, it's no different to playground bullying, then I am no better than the bystanders who do nothing.
We've seen Russian drones end up in Poland. We've seen Russian aircraft in Estonian airspace in recent days alone. Nevertheless, so motivated was he by his morals as a mum and as a dad when he's saying to you, I want to go and join this war. And we know how terrible it is. We know how many people on both sides who've lost their lives. What was your instinctive reaction to that?
Honestly, originally, we were heartbroken. Any parent would be, naturally. But this did not start recently. He was mentioning this when Crimea was first invaded.
In 2014?
Absolutely. And he was much younger then. He died at 22. So we had many years of discussions, shall we say, building up to this. He sat us down, he talked us through exactly what Ukraine meant to the world, not just to him, but to the world. So yes, initially we were heartbroken, as any parent would. We tried to talk him out of it. There was lots of tears, I'll be honest about that. But then you have to stand back and you think, we raised Callum to be like this. And I'm so proud that he could stand up and be honest to us as parents, knowing the pain, the fear, the anguish it would cause us, knowing that the chances are he would not be coming back. We were all realistic about that. And yet still we supported him. Because to know that you've raised someone to grow up with that moral compass, the sense of pride is unbelievable.
There he is. A lovely picture we're seeing there. And Stephen, we hear stories about what happened. He was incredibly brave. It sounded like fought to the end. His comrades have disclosed that.
Yeah.
How he was, under an onslaught, really, by Russians, and he carried on going right to the end. I have to ask, and it's a difficult thing, and I'm a dad too, no one wants that news that something has happened to your baby.
No.
When you heard it, it must have been devastating, but we've already seen with Mum the pride in him doing what he believed in. That's how you felt.
When we found out it's, a hole opens up, your life completely changes in a split second. Everything that you know about your life, it changes, and you find, it's a dark hole, and that hole fills with, bad things very, very quickly. And you need to stay really, really strong. But we took some comfort that, Callum had stood up under the most extreme pressure to some of the most extreme bullies, and he hadn't given an inch. He refused to give part of a foreign country to the enemy. And we took pride in that, and that's given us resilience. And then, you know, organisations like the RT Weatherman Foundation, you know, they've been a bright torch in a really dark place for us, and they've helped us and guided us through, you know, a lot of some very, very complex processes and complex emotions, and we're really grateful for all the work and the support that we've had from them.
Look, of course, massive impact on young Ukrainians, it goes without saying, but as we've just been hearing there, huge impact on Brits and Americans wanting to help, and that has prompted the creation of your foundation. Tell people more about it, because they may not be familiar with it.
Yeah, so we began in the war on the first day, and we've shipped in $250 million of medical aid to the front lines, and in doing so, we ran into Americans who were wounded who couldn't get out. So there's wounded in action who need help getting out, but there's also killed in action. And the legal process to be able to go from being a missing in action to killed in action is a legal process within Ukraine. So the families need support with that. So we have a legal team that goes and does all that. We also have a team that's heroic that goes through morgues every day, trying to get matches and match up people and find soldiers that are missing in action, which has been a huge, huge issue for us. So we did that, and then my father fought in the British Army. My family's from Scotland, and we just started picking up people from all democracies. We give you, from a democracy, we give you a ride out. We've actually taken 4 dead soldiers all the way back to New Zealand.
Wow. And it's just so sad.
It's brutal.
It's
brutal. Absolutely brutal. And I think the death count is grossly underestimated. There are bodies all over the place there. This is a very serious situation. And even if the war was to end today, the cleanup for this, just from the war aspect, never mind rebuilding Ukraine, is going to be a lengthy process.
But we've heard directly there from Callum's mum and dad about the impact on them, Callum's belief, the reason he went there. And as I said to you when we started chatting just a moment ago, plenty feel the same way. But they're also getting online abuse. Yes. Trolling.
Yes.
Worse, perhaps, the focus of terrible behaviour because of what they're doing. It's just expand on that a bit more.
Transnational repression is a big issue. I would like to send out my regards for an early birthday wish to Joshua Wong, who was imprisoned in Hong Kong, who's a dear friend of mine. His partner in Hong Kong is Nathan Law, who is also under a $1 million bounty by the Chinese Communist Party here in the UK. And that many of the families aren't speaking out in the United States and in the United Kingdom because on UK and US soil, they are being attacked with death threats and everything else. So it's a huge gratitude that these folks are willing to speak up on behalf of all the other families who are not so willing to speak up because they're being attacked.
Have you experienced that?
Yes, frequently, yes.
How does it manifest itself?
It's mainly online. A lot of social media. I get private messages, and I would say across every social media. Yeah. There's not one that I don't have it on. And it's not just us, it's the children as well. His brothers get death threats. Used to be daily, not so much now. I still get them on a daily basis. You have 2 options in that case. You can regress back, or you take pride in your son again, and you think, what would Callum do? And what Callum would do is stand up to those bullies. And I refuse to bow down to those death threats. Do
you engage them with these people?
No, there's no point.
You just ignore them. And get on with your day.
Do not feed the troll.
Yeah.
There's no point. They want the reaction. I refuse to give it to them. Just delete and block.
Yeah. It's insidious, isn't it?
Yeah.
And look, it's hard to know when people are hiding behind the anonymity as to whether it is an individual with some axe to grind, or if it's something far worse, whether it be some sort of rogue state or Russian bots or whoever it happens to be.
No idea.
Yeah, no, nobody has any idea, unfortunately, which begs the question, do you think something needs to be done more about that? We've been discussing this morning in terms of how social media is affecting child-on-child abuse and the rest of it. I mean, of course, Callum's actions and the ramifications lead us into lots of other areas of questions, but that in particular, Stephen, the insidious nature of social media, how it's had an effect on you and many others we've seen there. Would you like to see the government do more of this? Have they engaged with you on any of this stuff?
Well, yes, actually. I mean, when things first happened, there were some horrible messages. Callum's social media got hacked and got filled with lots of messages. And yes, the government did engage, Foreign Office engaged, and they were able to have those pages, that messages taken down and those pages blocked. I think that the social media companies themselves need to be much more aware of what's going on in their pages and, be ready to take action very, very quickly when things that shouldn't be being broadcast. I mean, it's not about free speech.
And let's look at what these guys were doing. They were there. They're not mercenaries. They're not fighters. They're defenders. This is a dictator, a madman dictator, who is assaulting the children of Ukraine. He's putting missiles into children's bedrooms. He hosted a soccer stadium with kidnapped Ukrainian children in sub-zero temperatures in the middle of a frozen stadium. This is an outrageous genocide on the Ukrainian children, and now he has the audacity to come attack the families of those who have fallen in Russia. It's outrageous, and he's got to be stopped.
I totally get what you're saying there. Let's just finish on what you think can realistically be done now. We've seen, of course, Trump meet Putin in Alaska. No material change there. We've seen the coalition of the willing led by Britain, France and others there. We've seen the incursions, as I mentioned before, into Poland and Estonia recently.
I have the answer for that. I think there needs to be one person speaking. It's a negotiation with too many people involved right now, and I am adamant of the view that President Alexander Stubb of Finland should be the point person negotiating this, period, on behalf of the West, period.
Interesting. Final word to you both. To honour Callum's legacy, the bravery which took him to Ukraine, took him to the front line. What would you like to see change now?
Well, I'd say that we just have to remember, that, are we prepared to, think about the comforts of today or pay the price for freedoms tomorrow? And I think that's something that we all need to think about.
I agree totally.
Thank you so much for coming in. Really good to see you.
Our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. An honour to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.